Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a writing workshop sponsored by the Cornelia T. Bailey Foundation. It is my pleasure to introduce you to today's author. Jamie Engel is an award-winning writer of stories with a magic touch in film, streaming, and books. She is the screenwriter and co-producer of Just Jake, distributed through Up TV Faith and Family Network, an Austin Film Festival second rounder, and received a double recommend through Stage 32. Besides writing, Jamie bakes grain-free, attains theater to watch her son, and cheers her high school senior during Friday Night Lights with her husband. Fun fact, Jamie danced at the Aloha Bowl halftime show. Welcome, Jamie. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I am so really excited to be here today. This is a very interesting topic. There's a lot of controversy behind this topic. So before we get started, I have to have the caveat. If you are looking to be a traditionally published author, like your dream is to write a book, send it to an agent, get it to a publisher, as of the recording of this video, they frown upon that. A lot of them have, did you use AI in writing this book or in even like summarizing or doing the table of contents, just coming up with the ideas at all. And unfortunately, while I understand why they have that practice, the same as with the National Novel Writing Month, they would get slammed with books in December from people that just wrote a book and sent it in. Like, I understand why. Unfortunately, if you use Google to research anything in your book, you would have to say yes, because the very first thing that pops up on Google automatically now is an AI response. So unfortunately, publication is a little behind because it's new and it's scary, and we don't want to lose our jobs to a robot because it's creative. But that's why we're here today. And hopefully I can shed some light on how you can properly use AI. And then one day, hopefully, it will become something that is acceptable in all of the practices for writers. So we're just going to jump in. Again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We'll get to them at the end. And I'm really hope that this is clear and you guys understand it and you learned something today. So ChatGPT is the one that I prefer, and you can go to your store and download Chat. I also use Copilot, which is a Microsoft product. And I also have Grok, which is the X product, formerly known as Twitter. I have all three because I use them for different purposes. But if I had to just pick one to mess around with, I would start with Chat. A few years ago, when I was very anti-chat, just like 10 years ago, I was very anti-self-publishing, and now, well, I've done it 20 times. I asked the instructor of the class I was taking, what would you tell someone who is like kind of pissed off about this, but really doesn't want to be a locomotive left behind in an airplane world? Because that's what I see coming for writers. And she told me, open Chat, tell Chat a little bit about one of your books, and ask it to do a back blurb for your book. And I did that, and I was like, wow, that's really good. Like, it was really close to my book, and I prompted it well. So that was what I did. So if you have any like trepidation about trying it, that's where I would start for you. But this is what we use it for. It's really a great creativity and brainstorming and productivity resource. It's a tool. It is not a replacement. It's not a human. It's not a humanoid. They're not going to take over like Terminator style yet. So we're all safe right now. I've heard on podcasts that like last year, major businesses, like people who worked at businesses were like sneaking Chat under their office desks to work on their whatever they did at their jobs. And now they're projecting that 85% of jobs will be incorporating Chat into rewriting their entire business plans of how they do their day-to-day, which is insane in a year. It's great for brainstorming, outlines, scenes. If you're anything like me, and I do know a couple of you out there, and thank you, my friends, for being here for me and learning. I appreciate you guys. Um, I have too many ideas for the time that I'm given on this planet. So, and that one thing I like to use chat for is to kind of work through an idea to see where it might go, to see if it's worth me investing 1 to 3 years in this story. You can also use it for refining, that like more of an editing process. Um, Maybe you want to, change a little bit of the dialogue or something. And it's also good for those things we don't generally love to do as writers, like writing the synopsis or perfecting our query letters. It can help you to kind of see, here's my query letter. It's been rejected. No one's asking for a full read. What do you recommend, chat, to make it a little bit more palatable for an agent? And then it's really great for research. I could spend hours on the internet looking something up for my book, or I could say, hey, chat, could you please let me know some details about the War of the Roses? And it will go on the internet, and now it does the links, because I know people have asked about skimming, and all I can say about that is I don't know because I wasn't there. However, the products that were made that we're using now, if they were made unethically, I know they're not allowed to do that now moving forward. And I have no control over how they behaved to get here. Unfortunately, Pandora's box has been opened. So because it's been opened, we have to learn how to use this technology, or our jobs aren't going to be replaced by robots. They're going to be replaced by smarter writers. So what is ChatGPT? It's a conversational AI, and that's the funny part about it. And my dad laughs at me because I talk to chat. I'm like, hey, chat, did you just change this item that I asked you to write? Did you just change that into something else? And chat, what are you thinking? Are you listening to me? And I talk to it like I would talk to somebody. And that's what it's meant to be there for. And the more you can work with your own chat and talk to it and get it to understand how you think and how your voice is and your tone and your style, then the easier it is to work with it. It uses natural language to provide human-like responses, which is why it's so easy to work with. There's actually over 100 million users worldwide, which is pretty crazy, since I would say 2 years ago, we were just kind of hearing about AI as far as mainstream writers and people, and now we're kind of inundated with it. Like I said, you open up a Google page and ask Google to do anything, and the first response is usually an AI-generated response. It learns every time you interact, and don't go, thinking that this is going to be an X-Men thing and we're all going to die. But it does learn, and but you also have to keep reminding it, because it is a tool. It is not a person. So it even though it retains things, it's a work in progress. So you have to really prompt it a lot. So here are the three that I use. I have the ChatGPT paid version. I've been on the $20 a month version. I like that because everything stays within my space, and I'm able to have it save things in the memory. And also I can cross those conversations. It's, for me, I feel like it was worth the $20. And to be honest with you, I just upgraded to their next plan because I use it so much. And the next up plan is $200 a month, which is so crazy to me. But maybe they should have had a couple tiers, but I'm trying out the 200 this month to see if it's worth it, if there's a difference. But you can do a lot. You can do images, you can do words. There's all kinds of things you can do, and you can schedule things. So Grok is more limited in the free version, and you would definitely have to probably go up, because 10 prompts you can get through very fast, even though it's 2 hours. And then Microsoft Pilot, I use Microsoft Pilot more for my professional face, whereas chat is more where I interact with my creative works. I use Microsoft Copilot to do things like helping me with newsletters or social media posting, things of that nature. So you just have to kind of play with them and see which voice you like to work with for you and what you're doing. Oh, sorry. This is being really sensitive. It must know I'm talking about chat and not it. It's getting jealous. So chat is a writing partner, if you think of it that way, and not a replacement. It's like your bounce board, your soundboard. The thing with chat is you're gonna kind of ask it to help you with ideas, and you're gonna ask it to help you to reframe something. You're not going to ask it, like I saw on that NaNoWriMo, I don't know if you guys know about what happened with the National Novel Writing Month, but NaNoWriMo, they actually closed this year because they took a side on chat. So hopefully I don't close this year. And somebody wrote in the comments of the article, oh yeah, chat's writing a book for me right now. I can't wait to read it. And while it made me laugh and it was funny, it was just arrogant and ignorant, obviously, because it doesn't work that way. I have tested lots of different things and definitely found that chat is not at this level, does not remember the things I share with it all the time. And it goes in on its own like tangents weirdly. And it's just very interesting. But so you have to keep it, it is definitely a partner and you are in control of that partnership. It is not a replacement for you by any stretch. It just really helps you with efficiency. Like, for example, I have a story idea and I have a producer reach out to me and they say, hey, we're looking for something in this genre. Do you have anything that we could pitch? And I'm able to say, I actually do have a little like bit of an idea I've been working on. And then I can spend the next, 20 minutes working with chat and bouncing the idea back and forth. And in 20 minutes, I can have something written that I can send back to the producer that they can send to the production company to see if they want to buy it or not. So where that might have taken me, days in the past, now it only takes me a little bit of time because I'm not invested in this idea. They may or may not like the idea. So for me to spend 30 minutes doing it and to have them say, yeah, we like this. Could you give us more? Well, now I'll invest my time into it. So I really love that. It makes me definitely makes me more efficient and it definitely helps me to get more done. And that's what I mean about being a locomotive in an airplane world. There's going to be another writer whose agent reaches out to them and says, hey, do you have anything in this genre? And they're going to spend 3 to 5 days with the idea, figuring it out, writing it down, sending it in. And I've already been hired for the job. And they, or they've moved on and they don't want that anymore. So for me, I really love that it helps me to not waste my time on things that aren't going to go anywhere and help me to ensure that if I do want to put my time into something, I've already kind of worked it out a little bit to see if I'm really involved in it. So chat really mimics you. So I've done like if any of you are on my newsletter is completely generated by chat. I have a formula and every month we go in together and it puts certain things in order. So it's like what's been happening, what I did last month, new releases coming out, it's got different categories like that. But every month I sit down with chat or actually with Microsoft Copilot and I say, okay, let's work on May's newsletter. And I'll go through piece by piece and I'll say, okay, here's what I want to say in the first paragraph. And I'll just say, for this one, my son's graduating from high school and I'm really excited and my new chapter of my life starting just like his and blah, 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 blah. And then it'll give me back something that sounds prettier and is more in my voice because I've trained it. I've said, this I'm you guys are listening to me. I don't have a like collegiate vocabulary. I'm very upbeat and whimsical and fun, and I want to be inspiring and educational. And so that's how my voice comes out because I've trained the AI to mimic me. So it doesn't just go and be like, become you. It mimics you. It takes your ideas and it doesn't understand everything, but you are the one that gives it what it needs to be able to refine your drafts and outline stories and whatnot. And I wish my cursor would stay where it is. Okay. So, I know I keep harping on this, but so many people are like, oh, we're going to lose our jobs to AI. And I am telling you, not with this iteration. We are not. And I don't think ever, but definitely not with this iteration. I know that in film, um, they just passed a law this past week that is allowing films that were created with AI to be eligible for the Academy Awards. So I guess the last Academy Awards, that wasn't okay, but now it has been integrated. So that's what I'm saying about the publishing world. Like if the film world is incorporating AI into everyday movies as part of just a tool that the filmmakers chose to use, it's only a matter of time before that spills into the publication world. So, but I still had to have my caveat at the beginning. So yeah, so you want to realize that what AI brings to the table is speed. And what you bring to the table is your artistry. And that's why it's a collaborative tool and not a replacement. So here's just a couple of things if you want to do a screenshot of this page or take a picture with your phone. Here's some ways that writers can effectively use AI. I know writer's block's an issue. Refinement is not always the easiest thing for us to do. Sometimes you might have a character that you want to sound a certain way. So you're like, hey, could you take this dialogue and just rewrite it? Because it's just not hitting right. I want it to sound like a kid from the 90s or something. And you can put your dialogue in piece by piece for the entire book if you want to, and say, hey, could you make this sound like this kid's from the 90s? And as you do that, it'll pick up on the tone of this kid and it'll start to streamline all of it so that it sounds the same. And then obviously world building research. I do a lot of magical realism, fantasy type stories. So I have a blast sitting with chat and saying, okay, let's build out this world. And because there's things I don't think about, like I don't think about necessarily the currency or the geography. Like these are things that don't come to my mind naturally, but I have them all in my head. I just don't necessarily think to put it all on paper or to spend a lot of time theorizing what that might be like in this world. So working with chat is really cool to be able to do that and just say, hey, like, I've got 3 different groups in this world. Can we give each of them a different look? Like, I want this one to be formal, this one to be kind of like weird, and you just kind of build it out. And if you don't like it, you say, no, I don't like that direction. Let's go to a more dystopian direction. And it'll work with you to fix things. So yeah, so the tone, style, and context are things that you teach your chat. Your chat, you have the blanket chat, which is the first thing that you open up, and you can just start doing threads. And then you can actually create a bot. You can create several bots. I don't know how many they allow, but you can create a bot. Like say you have a book you want to edit, you can create a bot just for that book. And so that bot will really stay hooked into the tone, style, and context of that one book. But for anything in chat, you're going to be prompting and creating that tone and style. And the more details you provide chat, the better. A lot of times I'll say, hey, chat, could you, like just the picture in the middle, for example, could you create an image with bright colors of this, one world with several worlds around it and a mountain landscape? And let's just say it comes up with something that's this. And I'm like, oh, no, I meant like, I wanted it to be more like far away in outer space, And so every time I talk to it, I get a little bit more refined and a little bit more refined. And that's when you get the thing you're actually trying to get chat to either draw or to write for you. So the clearer your prompts, the better. If you say, chat, could you write me a speech that sounds like something that could be on TED Talk about the importance of using AI? Well, you know what? It's probably going to come up with something very generic and very ineffective. And it might ring kind of true for something that would be said on a platform like TED Talk, but it's not going to read true for what you were trying to get across. So if you're more specific and you say, chat, I want to come up with a TED Talk that deals with these three things about this issue. I want to include this personal story of mine, and you give it all the details and you write them all out, or you speak it in with your voice. Then it's going to give you a very clear, detailed, specific speech that is a reflection of you as the artist. And then you're going to refine that and you're going to say, I love the first two paragraphs, but could we change the hook? The hook's going in the wrong direction. I don't want it to be about how AI might replace humans one day. I want it to be about how AI and humans are coming closer together, whatever. I'm obviously making up a really bad TED Talk here. So maybe I need to use AI. Anyway, I think you understand what I'm saying. And if this thing would move, it'd be so amazing. Okay, cool. So why writers are still essential and why you can't say, oh yeah, I'm working on a book with chat right now, I can't wait to read it, is AI at its current stage lacks originality. it it's like your brain. I mean, we see patterns as writers. We look for patterns in things. We find pattern. I mean, for the love of God, what we do for a job is we write something that seems like it's happening in real time that we've spent 3 years on, or 6 months on. Like we're putting things into play that look coincidental. Like that's a gift. Chat does that. It takes patterns and it combines them and it pushes this over here with this because it thinks that makes sense. But you as a human bring the story, you bring the humanity to it. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of like this stale, this might lead into this, that might lead into that. And obviously, you're going to make the final decision. It's your story. It is just a brainstorming tool. It is just a tool to help you get from A to Z to get your story out there in a more efficient way. And here's a screenshot opportunity of what we did in this section. How to use AI without losing your voice. If you would like to screenshot it or take your phone and take a picture. I thought these bullets kind of encapsulated the first section. And then we're going to do a really fun true or false. Obviously, I can't hear you or see you because I'm staring at my screen. But true or false, you can answer if you like. Everyone else will see your little things. You can do thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Let me see if I can see you guys here. Oh, I can see some of you. Okay, we'll do thumbs up and thumbs down. Okay. True or false, AI can generate completely original ideas with no human input. That's right. The more details you provide in a prompt, the better the AI's response will be. Yeah, you guys are so smart. AI can replace the need for human creativity and storytelling. Oh God, we hope that's a thumbs down forever. Writers should refine and edit AI generated content to match their voice. Yup, got to do that. That's super important. All right, I'm gonna minimize this again. All right, cool. Just want to make sure you guys are paying attention and not sitting there writing on AI. Okay. So the problem with AI is sometimes people can rely on it too heavily. I do a lot of editing. I do the first 10-page reads for a national conference. So I read lots and lots of first 10 pages of books. And there's been times when I've read some and I'm like, oh, you didn't even edit this and you used AI. That's not good. And you can tell because there's a lot of the same words being used. There's a lot of the same phrases being used. It tends to weaken the voice and the originality of the project that shines through. There's nothing wrong with having AI help you writing your first draft, in my opinion, because it's all your idea and it's all your prompts, and all it's doing is taking that and refining it. But you're gonna have to go through like and fine tooth comb what it provides you. You can't just take that and like go publish it somewhere. That's just ludicrous. If you rely on AI too heavily, then you can feel it. Like if you read the whole thing, it's a machine, like even though it's artificial intelligence, it's artificial. And you can hear that and you can feel it in the cadence and the lines and the story and the repetition, and it's just no fun. So make sure that you're really paying attention to that. So make sure that you're clearly defining what you need. Chat can help you with everything, but you just have to be very specific and tell it what you want. Like I've worked on stuff before and I've gotten maybe like a few chapters into something. I like to take some of my screenplays and adapt them into books. So I already have the whole story. It's like a 120-page incredible outline with dialogue. So I like to take that and have chat help me to turn each chapter into a book. Sorry, each scene into a chapter. I'm sorry, I'm over here making up things. And so what I find is it'll sometimes change your tone because it just starts going. And so you have to come back and remind it and be like, hey, chat, this is feeling really formal all of a sudden in this chapter. Did you change the tone? And it will be like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'll go back to the whimsical tone that you asked me to use in the beginning. So like you have to be on top of it. It does lie. One time I asked it to read a big section of my book because I wanted to make sure all of the lore matched, and I didn't like say that this character's power was it could grow grass and then this character couldn't, and then I switched it or something. I needed that second look. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and it's like, oh, it'll be ready in a few hours. And then a few hours, I'm like, chat, where is it? And it's like, oh, I'm almost done. And then like the next day, I was like, chat, what's going on? And it's like, hi. And I said, where's my thing? And it goes, oh, I'm sorry. It took longer than I expected. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'll make it a priority. And I said, chat, if I wanted someone to lie to me, I would have asked a human to help me. And it literally said, ha ha, touche. And I'm like, what is happening right now in my life? Anyway, I thought that was a really funny story and you guys would appreciate it. So it does talk to you like a human, and it's really weird, but you do get used to it. So with that said, you have to make sure it's still your assistant. You wouldn't ask your assistant to go write a book and have them publish it and then read it for the first time when you buy it from Amazon. So make sure your tone is the same. Make sure that you're refining everything, and make sure that you're providing really good context, because the clearer you can be, then the clearer the chat is going to generate what you're asking. So when you have everything aligned, it's the editing process is the same as anything else. You're going to go through your book from start to finish. You're going to make sure that, everything's the same. You're going to take your notes on your lore, your characters, making sure everyone looks the same, making sure everyone talks the same. If you gave someone like a pin, making sure they have the pin throughout the whole thing. Chat doesn't remember those things just like you don't. So you have to go through and edit like you normally do. The only difference is like 98% of the grammar and mechanics are done in the first draft with chat, because it doesn't know how to make those kinds of mistakes, because those are always the same every time. So I like that because the editing process is a lot easier when you're using chat. So I don't know if you can also like take pieces of your book and put it into chat and ask it to edit for things. Like you can say, I don't want to change any of my writing, as little as possible, but could you please make sure that my mechanics and grammar are correct? And I think things like Grammarly do that, of course. And I think somebody told me recently that Grammarly has just incorporated AI into their software, which is pretty freaking awesome if that's true, because then you've got like everything figured out in that software. So when you're editing, these are the things you can kind of ask chat to help you with. Perhaps you obviously refining your tone and style. We've gone over that in dialogue. But let's just say you have a scene between two people and it's a very pivotal moment in the story and you've written it very well, but you're just reading through it and you're like, man, this just isn't hitting like I wanted it to hit. You can go in and ask chat. You can say, hey, I really want to add more depth to this scene. Or is there a B story that I can put in here that's going to make this moment feel stronger? And where should I put that in my story? Where should the B story start? And where should it come back? And chat can help you with those kinds of things. Like, I hate to break it to everybody here, but there's nothing new under the sun. So your unique story is unique because you wrote it, and it's if I said, okay, everybody, we're going to all write a story about a guy who has a cab and he has criminals that take over his cab and now he has to drive the mob. We would all come up with a different story, different characters, different situations, 100%. But all of the stories we come up with, they're elements of other stories that we've either seen, heard, or imagined and pushed together in a different way. So in that sense, chat is able to go through these public domain books, and we're hoping that for the love of God, that's the only ones that are going through these days, going through these books and finding these story elements. I mean, they can go read Save the Cat. You can say, hey, chat, here's my synopsis. Did I hit all the Save the Cat points? Did I hit all of the Joseph Campbell hero's journey points? And it'll tell you where you can enhance the emotion and the depth. It's really cool for that. You can also verify facts and historical details, but I would recommend that you also, if it's something like, I would always still go check, because chat even will say in the software that it is known to be inaccurate, and that if you have specific details, you want to make sure that they're accurate. So I think that's still a good thing to do. So you can use your chat to do these things with clarity. And I know I'm saying this again, but I really want to make it clear that it is not writing your work. It's not creating for you. One of my favorite things is that it helps me with research. I once did an agent query list, and I asked chat to build the query list based off of the most recently sold books in the fantasy genre, middle grade magical realism, whatever the book was. And I asked for the top 30 agents in that. And it popped it out in like 3 seconds in an Excel spreadsheet that I could download. And then from there, I could go to each website and research the agents and find out which one was the best fit for me, and what their submission process was. Like, it's crazy. Like, why would you want to sit here and spend 3 days researching the War of the Roses for your book when you can ask chat to give you a like bulleted list, and then you can find the thing that you're really excited about, and then you can go research that one piece rather than researching, days and days and pages to find that one nugget. To me, it makes more sense to just have something else doing it for you. And the other things we've discussed, this was the big one, was just the research. So yeah, again, like the vague or unclear prompts is going to give you such a train wreck. So I'm really reiterating that because that took me a long time to figure out. And then don't skip that revision process, because that's where your voice comes in. When James Patterson writes a book with so-and-so at the bottom where it says by James Patterson and Jamie Engel, right? When that happens, like, James has provided the basics outline of the book, and he has asked the co-writer to write basically the first draft, and it goes in like 3-chapter chunks because I know someone who's done it. But then James Patterson comes back and rewrites over the top, like edits over the top, so that it's his voice from A to Z. So you want to make sure you're doing that here. So here's your next screenshot opportunity. Your best practices for the assistance of AI in your creative process. Remember, it's your creative partner. It is not your creator today. Maybe one day we'll be at the mercy of AI. And all those movies that we've watched will come to pass, but not today. Oh, I hit the button again. There we go. Okay, so how can we write these better AI prompts? We are going to be very clear and specific about what we need. We're going to define the tone, style, and genre. These are so important. You can't ask AI could you write an entire story world that's set in a sci-fi future? Can't do that. You have to break it up into smaller pieces. I'm starting with this area. What are 10 names I can call it? Okay, what are the different things in this area that we could build out together? And here's what I'm thinking. I think I want a army. I think I want a peasant group. And you just, whatever you have, you just break it down. And then from that, you say, oh, I like this. Can we expand on that? Or, oh, no, actually, now that I'm seeing it, I just don't like that. And you can also provide examples. I will upload some of my own work. I will upload pictures like I do on Pinterest, like I'll have images that remind me of a place, and I'll say I kind of want it to be something like this town in Ireland, but I want it to be set in a sci-fi future. So the more you can give, the better you're going to get back. So to generate these new ideas, the best thing I have found is to not be like to be very, very specific with what you're looking for, and making sure that every piece of your prompt is clear. And like it said, the genre, like that's really important. And you may not even think about that when you're starting to build your story. And you can change that. You can say, I want to write a dystopian story, and I want it to be about a boy and his father finding that they have a long lost relative on a different planet, right? And so you kind of start with that and see what are 10 different ways I can take that story, right? And then you like one of them and you go, wow, that's really cool. What if this was a murder mystery? What would change? And then see what comes out, It's really fun to do it that way. And you're just trying to figure out which story you want to work on, how much you want to put into it before you actually like get invested. Um, and then the coherence is the other thing from this that I thought was important. Um, you're going to lose things along the way, just like with you. I don't know about you guys, but I can't count how many times my blue-eyed character from chapter 3 becomes a green-eyed person in chapter 18. I don't have any clue when and why that happens. I have changed names. I have changed names of locations. I have completely forgotten characters altogether. So it's going to do that too. So you really have to make sure you have all those lists built out as you go as well. So on the still creative side, but more on the business creative side, um, there's a lot of great things you can use AI to help you with that are very time consuming, and we just want to get back to writing. So having the AI help you with the things like I've mentioned, the query letters and synopsis, it's also great for the book descriptions and the blurbs. If you do self-publish, the last book that I self-published was Crossing Cheyenne. It's based off of one of my screenplays that is currently, knock on wood, with Netflix under consideration for development. And when I was publishing it, I was like, here's my synopsis, here's my book blurb. What are the 5 keywords I should use for this book? What categories should I put this book in? What are some similar books that are like this? And that really helped me to figure out where and how to place it on Amazon for the best results. And it hit number 1 when it was released in its category. So that was because I, did the marketing, and I've always done that marketing, but having it take me 35 seconds is so much better than having it take me 3 hours. It also can help you with taglines and marketing copy. So you can have this really beautiful, easy to understand one sheet that you can send off to libraries or bookstores or whatnot. And also for finding people to help you and then creating those beautiful social media posts or blog posts. Because if you love doing any of these things, like you just don't use AI. But I would rather do almost anything in the world than write a newsletter. But I love interacting with people on my newsletter list and hearing how like it helps them and how it inspires them. So I've been doing a newsletter for 5 years. And it used to take me like a half a day to do a newsletter, and I wanted to poke my eyes out. And now it's like, it's so pleasant, and I feel so happy doing it because I'm having this AI assistant help me. So we're gonna skip our true and false because I see I'm already 40 minutes into this, which means I have 10 minutes left. So I want to get into the hands-on practice so we can, and then get into some Q&A. So here's an example of how to prompt for a story outline. So you're going to start with a clear and specific request. And here's an example. Hey, chat, help me outline a 3-act structure for a thriller about a reclusive scientist who discovers a way to reverse time but faces moral dilemmas. It's going to pop out whatever it pops out. And from that, you're going to refine it. And you might say, wow, that's really good, chat, but can we expand Act 2 with rising tension and a key turning point? I'm not feeling like that is in the first draft of the outline. And then it's going to improve that. And then you just keep asking, and you might say, you know what, forget this. Let's just go back to the first act, or let's just go and do a paragraph synopsis or a save the cat beat sheet, and you just keep asking it, and eventually what happens is it starts to understand your tone and understand what your usual output looks like. And it'll start saying, sure, would you like to do that in a save the cat? Because that's what I always ask for. Would you like to do that in a save the cat or in a 3-act structure? And then I'll let it know. And then by the end, you'll have the structured outline, your key events, your arcs, your progression, all of the things that you know are going to change as you start writing because it's a creative process. But at least you have your roadmap, and it only took you a few minutes to decide if you like this story or not before you start investing a bunch of time in it. So writing a query letter with AI, you want to start with that clear prompt. So you're going to ask it to make a query letter, and you're going to give it the details it needs, which is your genre, your word count, your brief synopsis, and your bio. And you can even say like, hey, everything was great, but the hook is not good. I need something that's going to catch the attention of a mystery writer. So could you rewrite this so that it sounds like it has a little bit more mystery to the voice? And it will. And if it sounds stupid and cheesy, you go, never mind, go back to the first version. Could you please rewrite the hook? And it will. And if it gets like overloaded, you can always upload. There's like a plus button. You can always upload the query letter that you liked first, like copy and paste it to a Word document and say, let's use this draft. Could you add a better hook or give me 5 hooks that could go with this query letter? And that kind of bleeds into adjusting the tone. If the letter comes out and it's very casual and you're writing like an upmarket fiction that you want to sound very, or even a nonfiction, you're going to go back and fix that. And then you can personalize it if you have specific things, but that kind of stuff I would just do myself. And I would use it more to get the agent list rather than personalizing it for the agent. And then for the collaborating, it's kind of the same, but you're gonna go scene by scene. You can't just say, hey, let's do chapter 1, because it's gonna give you like a very, very convoluted version of whatever you've asked for. The least amount of thing you ask for, the more clear, concise, and detailed it's gonna be. So if you ask for a chapter, it's gonna be more like a synopsis of a chapter. If you say, can we write this scene? Can we continue that scene with this? Can we continue that scene with this? Great. Could you put all of that together into a single chapter for me and don't change a single word? And then it can do that. You can also ask it for the emotional impact. I've done this before, like, hey, this conversation feels really flat. I've tried rewriting it 6 different ways to Sunday and nothing's seeming to stick. Could you please help me? I want this to be like way more resentful on this person's side and hesitant on this person's side, but neither one of them are going to talk about what they're actually feeling, and it'll help you. And then finalizing the scene. Once you get it all worked out, then you have to go back in and just tweak it and give it your voice and give it your spin. So this is another opportunity if you want to take a picture or a screenshot. Here's like some things you can ask chat, like if you're trying to figure out your character backstories, who your characters are. These are some questions for examples, and you figure out your own as you go, but here's some things that you want to give chat or ask chat to help you figure out. And again, the more you use it, the more familiar you get with it. So dialogue is tricky because it's people speaking, not AI speaking, but you can definitely, here's some examples of things that you can ask chat to do, and it will. And even if you just do this, like I said in the beginning, when I did that first class and I was like, what advice would you give someone who's like, who doesn't like chat, who's kind of angry at chat because it's ruining her future life, but doesn't want to be left behind? Here's some things you can ask chat to do just to practice and see how it feels. I had someone reach out to me. My friend Nikki texted me today, and she said, ask chat to write the Proverbs 31 woman synopsis in your genre. And I haven't done it. She writes cozy mysteries, and she said it's amazing. So I would like to ask chat to do that at some point with a magical realism story and just curiously see what it comes up with. So building a unique world with AI, this is what I was saying earlier. Like, obviously you want to define the setting, and you can ask, what are the descriptions, the geography, the climate, the key locations, historical, fantasy, futuristic, dystopian. And then you can be specific, create a bustling city in a steampunk world, focusing on its technology, architecture, and social structure. And what this does is it presents you with some generics, but it'll spark some specifics for you as the writer. And then, like I said earlier about, like, I don't think about these things, the culture and the society, like a unique festival celebrated in this world and how it reflects the society's values. Give me 10, and it'll give you 10 like weird things. And you're like, wow, I never thought about, celebrating the big mouth bass. That's interesting. And how that affects society's values, we don't know. And then adding distinct elements. Explain how a hidden underground library preserves forbidden knowledge. What's the mythology? What's the history? What's the day-to-day life of this story? And to me, when I do these things with chat, it just gets me inspired, and then I find the story that I want to write, and the one that I want to spend my time working on. So here's, if you want to take a picture of this or a screenshot, these are some of the things that I've learned from working with chat that I never really gave a lot of thought to. But now every story I write, I make sure that I know a piece and a bit of all of these items. And it just helps to make that story just pop off the page. So if you're doing a research-based story, more of a narrative story, you want to decide on your framework to organize your research. It's very important to do that in advance. Like, do you want the 3-act structure, a hero's journey? Is it episodic? And then the AI can summarize things. Like, you can upload a 48-page document from, your thesis or something and say, hey, could you summarize this? And then just pull out those details. That's what I'm trying to get at. And then what it'll also help with is maintaining your narrative flow. It's really easy to, as you guys know, it's really easy to get off topic when you're writing and storytelling. And you don't want to be like preachy. Even if it's a historical, you can still come across preachy. Like, you're so engrossed in the Civil War that you start like giving the reader details about the Civil War that you researched because they're super interesting to you because you're a buff, but they don't belong in your story. You can give that to chat and say, hey, chat, have I balanced the history with the storytelling properly? Have I oversaturated the historical facts anywhere? And then if it says, yeah, these 5 points here are kind of heavy on history, it can help you rewrite those. So here's your final takeaways in my last minute. Look at me, I feel like a rock star. AI can help you with your writing for storytelling, streamlining, and workflow, and especially to spark new ideas. It's a balance. You are the creative and it is the assistant. You must be clear and specific with your prompts, and then iterate over and over again to refine those outputs. And it will start to match your style as you do that. I do recommend fact checking. And as you go personalizing this content, the AI generated content will begin to personalize after you, but you have to start that. You can I uploaded past newsletters so that it could get a feel for my newsletter writing style. I've uploaded short stories so it could get a feel for my writing style. So you can do all of that for yours. And then it's a tool, not a replacement, at least today. We'll get into questions. This is me, my website. I actually changed my name on this presentation to my website, so you can find me. You can go to the website if you want to talk or anything. Where's my screen? Oh, I think my thing just froze. Awesome. That's great. Okay, good. Yay. Did I unshare my screen? I did. Good. Okay, cool. And then can you still see me? These 2 books, can you see them? It should be seen. I wrote these with chat. These are both based off of presentations I had. So all of the information I had researched and put together into 2 presentations, and I fed it piece by piece into chat, and it turned it into books. Because I would always leave something like this and people would be like, "Ow, I would love to learn more. Like, this was so much." So that's another way that I've used chat, is to build books off of my presentations so people can take it home. So I will turn this back over to you, Serena, for Q&A.
All right, we do have some questions that came in. The first question, I got a few about getting the slides. This is recorded. You can always go back, listen to any sections you want, pause it, take any screen grabs you want of any of her slides. It's going to be available to you for the next 3 months. And I'm going to send you an email with the link to the recording after this workshop. All right, so let's get to our questions that were posted in chat. And if you have a question you just thought of now, feel free to post it in chat while we're going through. One question was, do you have AI read your entire book before asking it to generate a query letter?
No, it would take a really long time, and I still don't feel like that would be the most efficient way. I usually, as I'm like writing it or editing it, I do like a very short summary of each chapter as I go. Or by the time I'm done, I kind of have a feel for the whole story, and then I just write a very bad synopsis and I upload that. Or you can do bullet points of your scenes in your chapters. So yeah, I have found that's the easiest way to do it, and then it can definitely help you to get your synopsis very beautiful that way.
So the next question is it acceptable to use AI to edit an already written novel? And if you're just using it for editing, do you have to tell agents?
So I have no idea. They said if you use AI at all. But like I said, that means if you've Googled anything for your book, you're a liar if you tell them no. So in my opinion, and this is totally me, and I know this is being recorded and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but it's none of anyone's business how you write your book. If you hired a ghostwriter and they used AI, you don't know. If you hired a ghostwriter and you said you wrote it, it's a ghostwriter. That's what they do. They're supposed to ghostwrite and you get the credit. So to me, it's not anyone's business how you write your book or how you get to the end. So to thine own self be true. If you feel uncomfortable clicking that box, that's all you, and I support you either way. Or you let them know yes, but they can read the work that you've done, the research, and you've done the, you know what you're doing. It's really for right now, because it's so controversial. I got yelled at a conference I spoke at last month when they asked me what I thought about AI, and yeah, so it's very hot topic right now.
Yep. The next question is, you mentioned MS Copilot mimics you, and what do you mean by mimics you, and how does that work?
They all mimic you, and what it means is my AI will feed back to me my voice. So that's what I mean by it mimics you. So I use Copilot for my business stuff, because my business voice, like when I write a newsletter, it's not going to sound like my fiction writing. So I use Copilot for all of my business documents, my synopsis, my book blurbs, my newsletters. And then I use chat for all of my creative fiction, or even my nonfiction presentations, because those voices are separate. Did that answer the question?
I think so, yes. Are there cookies that can detect chat? I'm guessing she means if there are different things you can use to detect if you've used ChatGPT.
I mean, I know like my kids' school, the teachers can run their work through things, but I from my understanding, when you copy it from chat and paste it into your Word document, if that's how you're going, so then you can edit it, like you're gonna be, when you start like working on it, it's gonna take away the anything that would have connected to chat, because you're rewriting it, you're editing it. So I don't know for sure. I hate that we even have to think that way, because I don't think it's fair. But I would definitely like, I mean, I've asked chat and chat said no. So, but chat's a liar. He told me. So I don't know. I don't know.
The next question is, how do you create a bot?
If you go into your chat there, like, and you click on your icon, I think it is, it says like add a bot or your bot or something and you name it and you can kind of say, hey, we're going to write this book together, or we're going to do this presentation together, or you're going to be my research bot or whatever it is. And you just kind of do it that way.
The last question I see is the free ChatGPT version valuable or worth value, or should they just go ahead and use the paid one?
It just limits, like you're only allowed to do a certain number of chats, and I don't know how well it saves stuff. That's the only thing I don't remember. For $20 a month, I feel like it's more than anybody could ever need. The 200 a month, I'm just trying out because I just go through so many things, and it was just like I had to wait 27 minutes to use it again, and I didn't want to. So I upgraded, and I just don't know if I'm going to keep it or not because I don't know if it's worth it.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Oh, someone's agreeing in the chat that paid is worth it.
Thank
The
you.
paid version.
Yeah, and beyond this, like if you guys do have other questions, I know I've worked with a couple of you guys as clients. I do help writers, and if you have more questions or if you wanted to go over specifics for your work, you can go to my contact page on my website, and I'm happy to talk to you about it and help you out.
All right. Do we have any other questions or?
Did you guys was this helpful or was it a lot of talking? Like, did you learn something today, or do you feel like you're just as confused as you were when you got here?
I have thumbs up, so I think they learned
Okay,
something today.
good. Awesome. That's good. That's good.
All right. Well, great. I'm happy to hear it. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Jamie, for breaking down ChatGPT for us. The next workshop's going to be next Saturday. I just put the link to register in chat if you'd like to register. And there's also a handout there. Oh, is there a hand raised?
I see one.
Do you want
Yeah.
to unmute? Go ahead. Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted by any chance?
Oh, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Fantastic workshop. And I ended up having to listen to some of it in the car. One of my questions is, what about when you're asking GPT about like the example that you gave about history and storytelling? Is it balanced? That's kind of a subjective question. So how does AI handle asking basically for its opinion? Because like if you pass that on, to 5 different people, you're probably going to get 3 different answers.
Yes, you're 100% correct, and you nailed it. It's an objective opinion, and I'm just asking for it to give me its thoughts, and I might read what it says and go, "Oh, that's good," or I might read it and go,
Okay.
No, I don't think so. But thanks for trying, chat."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
go
have a question
ahead.
too, Jenny. So you mentioned, like you asked Chad if captured the beat that lays out, or Campbell lays out in the journey, hero's journey. Is that something you have to upload, or does it already know that? In other words, is it already familiar with?
Yes. Anything that you can type into a Google bar and research on your own, chat can do that about a bazillion times faster. That's all it's doing. So it goes in, pulls cat, pops your stuff like three seconds.
Amazing.
It's insane. It is amazing. It is amazing. I'm glad you said that.
Right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.